Good morning. It is March 31st, and I hope you are well. Yesterday, when we joined together, um, I was outside and the birds were singing, and the sky was a beautiful blue, and we talked about finding hope in new life and looking for hope where it might be found. And if you were on yesterday and then you're watching this today, you might say, wow, this is quite a turnaround. What happened? Um, but the reality is that today, as I talk about having a license to lament, we can hold that together in tension with finding hope and looking for hope, because I think they're both true in our lives, and certainly in our life as a believer. So today's message might be a little bit different. I just want to give you a license to lament in these difficult days. I don't know about you, but I'm a crier. I remember growing up as a kid, and if we would all be gathered in the family room together watching TV as a family, anytime a Hallmark commercial or a Kleenex commercial would come on, others too, but those were the two that would really get me. I remember my family would turn to me, and because they knew that just that 15 or 30-second commercial would cause me to tear up and start crying, and that it was almost always true that it would. I cry when I see things that are beautiful. I cry when I'm happy, and I cry in lament. And these are days that bring about a lot of tears, at least for me. And I just want to give you permission in these days that it's okay to be lamenting. It's okay to be sorrowful. It's okay to embrace the grief and the pain and the anxiety of these days. Doing so doesn't somehow suggest that you're less of a Christian or your faith is less than somebody else who you don't see lamenting. Our God is a God who wept. I'm reminded of Jesus going to Mary and Martha, and after Lazarus has passed away, and as he sees and responds to the people's grief that he sees around them, he weeps. And what's so amazing to me is that he was there to raise Lazarus from the dead. He knew what was going to happen, what was going to unfold literally in the next 5 minutes, that he would say, Lazarus, come out. And Lazarus would come out with the cloths, the burial cloths still wrapped around him, but fully alive again. And he knew that. Jesus knew that that was part of his mission and his time that he was going to spend there with Mary and Martha and Lazarus. And yet he wept. That's our God, a God who sees the pain and the grief and the suffering, and he weeps. And so I just want to give you permission that maybe you've been trying to put on a happy face and just not connecting with the true feelings of pain and lament and suffering that you might be experiencing. I want to read to you a psalm. It's our psalm for today in today's lectionary readings, and then I want to read to you a prayer. A poem that a friend posted this morning on Facebook. And I'll do my best to get through it. So I would apologize for the tears, but I'm not going to, because I've learned that those tears are, that there's nothing wrong with tears. So the first is Psalm 143. It says, Lord, hear my prayer. Listen to my cry for mercy. In your faithfulness and righteousness, come to my relief. Do not bring your servant into judgment, for no one living is righteous before you. The enemy pursues me, he crushes me to the ground. He makes me dwell in the darkness like those long dead. So my spirit grows faint within me. My heart within me is dismayed. I remember the days of long ago. I meditate on all your works and consider what your hands have done. I spread out my hands to you. I thirst for you like a parched land. Answer me quickly, Lord. My spirit fails. Do not hide your face from me, or I will be like those who go down to the pit. Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go, for to you I entrust my life. Rescue me from my enemies, Lord, for I hide myself in you. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your good spirit lead me on level ground. For your name's sake, Lord, preserve my life. In your righteousness, bring me out of trouble. In your unfailing love, silence my enemies. Destroy all my foes, for I am your servant. This is the word of the Lord. This is a psalm of David, and wise, fitting words, I think, for these days we find ourselves in. The last thing that I want to share with you this morning is a poem by Jan Richardson, and it's called Blessing When the World is Ending. Look, the world is always ending somewhere. Somewhere the sun has come crashing down. Somewhere it has gone completely dark. Somewhere it has ended with the gun, the knife, the fist. Somewhere it has ended with the slammed door, the shattered hope. Somewhere it has ended with the utter quiet that follows the news from the phone, the television, the hospital room. Somewhere it has ended with a tenderness that will break your heart. But listen, this blessing means to be anything but morose. It has not come to cause despair. It is simply here because there is nothing. A blessing is better suited for than an ending. Nothing that cries out more for a blessing than when a world is falling apart. This blessing will not fix you, will not mend you, will not give you the false comfort. It will not talk to you about one door opening when another one closes. It will simply sit itself beside you among the shards and gently turn your face toward the direction from which the light will come, gathering itself about you as the world begins again. Jesus sits beside you as you experience grief in these days. Whether it's personal grief about family or friends that are struggling, whether it's about our circumstances of the world in which we find ourselves, whether it's grief about the realities that Easter this year will not look the same as maybe what you were anticipating and longing for, whether it's grief about isolation from friends and family, whether it's grief about economic hardships that you and loved ones are facing, whatever that grief is, Jesus comes to sit beside you, and as you weep, he weeps with you. Know that our God loves you and cares deeply for you. He's not a God who says, come on, get yourself together. Everything's fine. He sits and he weeps with you. And then, as the poem says, he turns his face towards the light, which is him, the light of the world, and the darkness will not overcome that light. So this morning, I just encourage you to be connected to those emotions and those feelings. Do not push them away, thinking that somehow you need to pull yourself together in order to be a good, faithful follower of Jesus. It's okay to sit in the pain. It's okay to lament. Maybe open up your scriptures and read some of the lament psalms. The psalm I read was Psalm 143. There are many, many, many others in our book of Psalms. God bless you. May he sit with you in the pain and the suffering in these days. And may he turn your face toward him who is the light of the world, who has come to share his light and to dispel the darkness. God bless you. I'm praying for you. Wash your hands, and we'll see you tomorrow.